You've walked into someone's home and instantly felt something. Not because anything was wrong, because everything felt right. Clean counters, clear floors, nothing out of place. And it makes you wonder, how do they actually live like this? Not for guests, not for a special occasion, just always. Here's the part nobody tells you. They are not more disciplined than you. They are not trying harder than you. Something changed for them. And once you understand what that change is, this whole thing starts to make a completely different kind of sense. Start with your brain. There's a concept in psychology called cognitive load. It's the total mental effort your brain is carrying at any given moment. And clutter is not just visual noise. It is a tax on your mind. Every unwashed dish, every pile of clothes on the chair, every item sitting somewhere it doesn't belong. Your brain registers every single one as an unfinished task, an open loop. And open loops are expensive. Research from Princeton University confirmed that physical clutter directly competes for your attention. It chips away at your focus. It raises your cortisol. It leaves you mentally drained before your day has even started. Does your thinking feel sharper in some rooms than others? That is your nervous system reacting to your environment in real time. When your space is clear, your brain stops tracking what's unfinished, and for the first time in hours, it gets to simply rest. Here's what most people miss. People who clean every day are not motivated by loving cleanliness. Almost nobody loves that. What drives them is something far more psychological. Their space is one of the most reliable tools they have for maintaining a sense of control over their life. Think about everything you cannot control: the economy, traffic, other people's moods, other people's choices. Most of life is completely outside your reach. But your kitchen counter? That's yours. Every time you restore it to order, you send a message to your nervous system. I have got this. Things are going to be okay. Have you ever felt a wave of calm after cleaning that had nothing to do with the cleaning itself? Psychology calls this locus of control. People who believe their actions shape their outcomes experience less anxiety and greater resilience over time. And one of the simplest ways to reinforce that belief is to take ownership of your space. Not because a clean counter changes the world, because the act of cleaning it tells your brain exactly who you are. And that brings us to the piece that explains everything: identity. People who keep a clean home are not primarily motivated by cleanliness. What happened is something quieter, through repetition, through seeing the results, through the small satisfaction of a finished task. They built a self-image. They became the kind of person who keeps a clean home. And once a behavior becomes part of how you see yourself, it stops requiring willpower. It becomes automatic. It stops being something you do. It becomes who you are. Which means if you carry the belief that you are just a messy person, that belief quietly gives you permission to let things pile up, and then points at the pile as proof. Some of you are sitting with a specific thought right now. You are thinking, that is not me. My space has always been a mess. That is just who I am. But identity is not fixed. It is built through evidence, and the evidence is your own repeated behavior. Every time you put one dish away instead of leaving it in the sink, you are casting a vote for a different version of yourself. Do that consistently enough, and your brain has no choice but to update its picture of who you are. Here is what most people get completely wrong. They think this takes willpower. It does not. What you are seeing in someone with a consistently clean home is not discipline. It is automation, a behavior that has become as automatic as brushing your teeth. A study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found it takes an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become truly automatic. Not 21 days, 66. So the goal is not to force yourself through this forever. The goal is to repeat it long enough that it stops being a decision. That is the shift. And once you make it, the habit runs itself. One last thing almost nobody talks about. Have you ever noticed that when you are stressed, you suddenly feel the urge to clean? You reorganize a drawer. You reach for a broom without knowing why. Psychology calls this behavioral activation, using physical action to shift your emotional state. When you do something with a clear beginning and end, you give your body a way to discharge that energy. The dishes get done, and something inside you settles. People who clean every day discovered this without ever naming it. The act of restoring order on the outside helps restore something on the inside. You are not wired wrong. You are not broken. If you have been living in a space that drains you every time you walk through the door, it is not because of who you are. It is because the habit has not been built yet. Habits are built the same way for everyone. Through small, consistent action, repeated long enough to become identity. Not through perfection, not through willpower. Through showing up for yourself in one small way, again and again. until it becomes the most natural thing in the world. If this landed somewhere real for you today, subscribe. There is much more to explore about how your environment and psychology shape each other in ways most people never question. I will see you in the next one.